Hey, Magic fans, welcome back. This is your captain speaking here on Capnclydes MTG. Today, we got some more Duskmourn leaks as I pack up to head back to the States. So, if I miss a day or two, don't worry, I'm sure I'm okay. God, I hope so. But anyway, let's get into Duskmourn. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for all the great news with links down below to help support the channel. Let's go. So, as we start off with today, we have Boiler Beagle's Ripper. I'm probably butchering that. Red and 4 for a 4/4. When it enters, you may sacrifice another creature or enchantment. When you do, it deals 2 damage to any target. Fine for limited. I mean, it's 5 mana, 4/4 with a bonus. Who cares? Next, we have the Erratic Apparition. A blue and 2 for a Flying Vigilance 1/3. Whenever an enchantment you control enters or whenever you fully unlock a room, it gets +1/+1 to end turn. Another fine limited card, I guess. We have the Horrid Vigor. Green and 1. Target creature gains Death Touch and Indestructible in a turn. This is going to be one of the best combat tricks in Limited. It may be some other formats as well, like Pauper, because Indestructible and Death Touch, it's a pretty good pair. Next, we have the Appendage Amalgam. Black and 2 for a 3/2 with Flash. Whenever it attacks, you surveil 1. I mean, if you want to attack with it, or you can just ambush Viper it in as removal for 3 mana to kill something with 3 toughness, that's also an option and good. So definitely limited all-star at best. Next, we have the Glimmerlight, or Flashlight. God, that just sounds wrong. I'm not even going to go there. Moving on. 2 colorless. Whenever it enters, you create a 1/1 white Glimmer enchantment creature token. Equip creature gets +1/+1. It equips for 1. So 3 mana gets you a 2/2 creature. I mean, it's fine. Limited, whatever. We have Glimmer Burst. Blue and 3. Draw 2 cards. Create a 1/1 Glimmer enchantment creature token. This is going to be insanely good in limited. Normally, you get 4 mana instant draw 2 card spells by themselves. This one, as a bonus, comes with a critter that flies. I'm sorry, it doesn't fly, just a critter. But that makes it great in limited. Next, we have the Dagger Maw Megalodon. 2 blue and 4 for this 5/7 shark. It has Vigilance and Island Cycling. Again, another sweet card for those animator decks, living in decks. Probably also pretty good for limited. Next, we have the Creeping Peeper. I think I've been called that before. Anyway, blue and 1 for this 2/1. Okay, that's a good creature type, I guess. Tap, add 1 blue, spend this mana only to cast enchantment spells, unlock a door, or turn a permanent face up. Great for limited. Good creature cost with stats. Has a decent ability. This is going to be pretty powerful, I think, in Commander or maybe some other formats, because having extra mana, especially from blue, to unlock doors, cast enchantment spells, or turn permanents face up could be a thing. Next, we have the Lionheart Glimmer. Was this a Narnia reference? Jesus. Anyway, 2 white and 3 for this 2/5 with Ward 2. Whenever you attack, creatures you control get +1/+1 to end a turn. Alright, so if you swing with it, it's basically a 3/6. I mean, it's probably going to be good enough for limited, especially if you have a giant swath of creatures. Plus, it blocks real well. Just saying. Then we have Clammy Prowler. I'll let you just imagine what that really means. Anyway, blue and 3 for this 2/5. Whenever it attacks, another target creature can't be blocked this turn. That's really good, considering it's probably not going to get in to do damage, but it ain't getting killed with 5 toughness. So, in limited, probably pretty good. Bashful Beastie. Oh, look at that little fella, ain't he cute? This is a green and 4, 5/4 that whenever he dies, you get to manifest Dread. Those who don't know, Dread is when you look at the top 2 cards. Put one of them face down as a 2/2 creature, the other card in your graveyard. This is the best kind of cards for limited. Big fat creatures that replace themselves with probably other big fat creatures. Next, we have Hand That Feeds. God, is that horrifying. Red and 1 for this 2/2 has Delirium. Whenever it attacks, while you have 3 or more cards of different types in the graveyard, it gets +2/+0 and gains menace. That might be good enough for Pauper and maybe even Standard. Definitely going to be pretty good for limited, for a little space filler, but hey, good is still good. Next, we have Twist Reality. 2 blue and 1. Choose one, counter target spell or Manifest Dread. Another good blue counter spell that either lets you get a creature if you're overloaded with counter spells, or just counter a spell. Yeah. So, great limited card. May sneak its way into a couple decks. Next we have Give In to Violence. Black and 1, target creature is +2/+2 and gains lifelink to the end of turn. That's a decent combat trick in limited. We have the Fear of Surveillance. A whole lot of eyeballs. Anyway, white and 1 for a 2/2 Vigi that whenever it attacks, you surveil one. Good limited card, not gonna lie. Cheap, decent creature, lets you surveil, attacks and blocks. Probably a keeper. Next we have Growing Dread. Blue and green flash enchantment. Whenever it enters, you get the Manifest Dread, like we mentioned before. And whenever you turn a permanent face up, you may put a +1/+1 counter on it. I mean, it's probably going to be great for limited, but to be honest, that's probably about it. So, I mean, it can be used as a removal. You Manifest Dread, you get 2 shitty cards. You literally put one in place, a 2/2 to block, kill something. Like, it has its purposes in a limited. I think it'll be good. But it's not going to be that big a rock star, maybe. Next, we have the Overgrown Zealot, green and 1 for an 0/4. Add 1 mana of any color. Add 2 mana of any one color. Spend only a turn permanents face up. Interesting take on the elves. This is probably going to be an all-star in several decks. In limited, maybe standard, and maybe other formats, because most 2-mana mana dorks aren't 0/4s. Jesus, that's huge. It blocks a lot of things. So anyway, next we have Split Skin Doll. That just sounds awful. White and 1 for this 2/1. Whenever it enters, you get to draw a card, then discard a card unless you control another creature power 2 or less. Yes. White, the color known for its ability to draw cards. Said no one ever. Jesus. Anyway, so this is going to be great in all the decks it can fit into. The only reason it probably won't be in Modern is because it's not a human. I mean, yeah, you may have to discard, but filtering through your deck is still filtering through your deck. And on the off chance you have another creature that's 2 or less, which if you lay something on turn 1, it probably will be smaller than this, you'll just get to draw a card. So, and it's an artifact. Like, so much going on here. Yeah, anyway, moving on. We have a Bear Trap. 1 colorless flash for 3. Sacrifice Bell Trap. It deals 3 damage to any target. Alright, great limited card. It's 4 mana, in essence. Removal for 3 damage on anything. It's fine. We get a reprint of the good old Terramorphic Expanse, which is basically in every set, so, whatever. Limited. Alright, next we have Reluctant Role Model. So, white and 1 for this 2/2. He has survival. So at the end of the at the beginning of your second main phase, if he is tapped, you put a flying lifelink or +1/+1 counter on him. Wow, that's good. Whenever this card or another creature you control dies, if it had counters on it, put those counters on up to 1 target creature. This is a really good card, and it's also a human. Gonna be great in limited, probably great in standard, probably gonna go in the humans deck. Yeah, this seems good in a lot of formats. Moving on, we have the Piggy Bank. That's Jesus. Anyway, this thing's insane as a red and 1 for a 3/2. That when it dies, you get a treasure token. This is going to be good and limited. Amazing in standard because you're going to have to block this thing, which means the red deck gets ramp, which is probably going to be bad. This is going to see play in probably a lot of high aggro decks. That's going to give it the ability to ramp the deck forward so it can keep a land light hand because it knows it will get land or at least mana sources back from its creatures, and that could be very dangerous. So moving on, next we have the Ceremonial Chamber, which is a black and 2 enchantment room. At the beginning of your end step, draw a card. If you control a demon, each opponent loses 2 life. You gain 2 life. Otherwise, you lose 2 life. All right, kind of a weird Howling Mind. We also have the Unholy Cloister. 2 black and 3. When you unlock this door, create a 6/6 black demon creature token with flying. Holy cow. This is going to be good. Probably going to see play in lots of decks because not only does it give you extra card draw, but it gives you the creature to boot to keep you from basically dying. Yeah. especially since it's at the end step. Like you can make the demon token on your turn, so you don't lose 2 life when you draw your card, and your opponent loses 2 life, and you gain 2 life. This is going to be played in standard, and if no one does, don't worry, I will, because I'm that guy. But anyway, great in limited, great in standard. Probably gonna see a lot of commander play. It's gonna be a good card. Next, we have Break Down the Door. Love the Shining references. Green and 2, choose one, exile target artifact or exile target enchantment, or manifest dread. So it's literally a creature or a artifact enchantment removal. This is probably the best thing you're going to get in limited. Might even see a little play in standard depending on how heavy the enchantments are, just saying. Next, we have Razorkin Horde Leader, red and 4 for this human clown berserker. I never thought I'd say that. Anyway, has haste. Whenever you attack, create a 1/1 red gremlin creature token, and it's a 4/4. This is what you call a limited bomb, and it's not even a rare. Like, you could get 2 or 3 of these things and just start going ham on your opponent by swinging. Yeah. This is going to be highly prized in draft. But also, outside of limited, though, honestly, it's not that great. Even though as good as it is in limited. But, here we are. Next, we have the Mind Flayer. Ooh, are we calling back to D&D? 3 blue for a 10/1. Well, that seems fair. Enchantment Creature Nightmare can't be blocked. If a source you control would deal damage to an opponent, prevent that damage, and each opponent mills that many cards. Oh, okay. So this is just a mill engine for 3 that can be gut-shotted off the table. I mean, whatever. I'm sure there's going to be some mill decks out there who want this kind of effery around. Anyway. Next, we have Trial of Anguish. So 1 red sorcery. Choose 2 target creatures controlled by the same opponent. That player chooses one of them. It deals 5 damage to that creature, and the other can't block this turn. Holy shit. Excuse my French. This is amazing for limited. Not to mention, also probably good removal in standard if creature decks become a thing. Because, I mean, if you're going to do a creature fight and you get to a standoff, what better way to beat down your opponent to say, hey, one of these ain't blocking and one of them's taking 5 damage. So kill one and the other one ain't doing nothing, and I'm going to swing at your face. With that being said, it may be a little harder to get this to see a whole lot of play because we do have a lot of good red removal, but this seems like it could be a thing, and man, who knows? This could be something. Next, we have the Greenhouse and Rickety Gazebo. So in the Greenhouse for a green and 2, this says lands you control have tap, add 1 mana of any color. Wow, that's going into every green deck in Commander. Just put that out there. Anyway, Rickety Gazebo, which is a green and 3. When you unlock this door, mill 4 cards, then return up to 2 permanent cards from among them to your hand. Yeah. The Gazebo's not that great. I mean, you can get permanent cards to your hand. I get that. There may be better ways to do this, i.e. Lantern and other cards like that make your lands tap for the same colors, but if you're in green and you need multicolors, which normally in green you don't, but whatever. I mean, this could be a thing. It is only an uncommon. I highly doubt I'll see any play, though, even in Commander, sadly, but I mean, it is what it is. Next, we have the Sawblade Skin Ripper. Black, red, and 1 for this 3/2 with Menace. Already good. For 2 colorless, sacrifice another creature or enchantment, put a +1/+1 counter on it. And at the beginning of your end step, if you sacrifice 1 or more permanents this turn, the Skin Ripper deals that much damage to any target. This is going to be insane in Commander and Limited. I love it. Love, 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 love. Also, Diversionist Specialist. Red and 3 for this 4/3. With Menace, 1, sacrifice another creature or enchantment, exile top card of your library. You may play it this turn. 5 for limited. I mean, it's alright. And these 2 cards together, as you can see on here, can make one hell of a combo. Just saying. Yeah. Moving on. So next we finally get to see some weird stuff. We have the Skull Snap Nuisance. Black and blue for a 1/4 flying insect skeleton, because that seems like a thing. Has Eerie. Whenever an enchantment you control enters or whenever you fully unlock a room, surveil 1. Great for limited. We have the Vile Mutilator. 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 Anyway, 2 black and 5 for this 6/5. And in addition to cast this spell, sacrifice a creature enchantment. It's got Flample, Flying Trample. And when it enters, each opponent sacrifices a non-token enchantment, then sacrifices a non-token creature. So, gonna be great and limited. It's gonna be even better when someone cheats us into play for free without sacrificing anything. Just gonna put that out there. So, do with that what you will. Ominous Flytrap. So here we get a look at some of the new borders that we're going to see, which, gotta admit, they're kind of cool looking. Green and 2, a 2/4 plant with Delirium. Whenever it enters or attacks, if there are 4 or more card types in your graveyard, distribute 2 +1/+1 counters among 1 or 2 creatures. Then, if there are 6 or more card types among cards in your graveyard, double the number of +1/+1 counters on those creatures. This is insane. This is going to see lots of Commander play. It's going to see lots of Standard play. It might even see play in some Pioneer and older decks because of the ability to double counters. Not to mention, it comes into play as a 3-mana 2/4, which most likely, and especially in older formats, will come into play as a 4/6. And quite possibly, a 6. So if you double them, that'd be 4. It'd be a 6/8. Jesus, for 3 mana. And it's not legendary. This thing can get insane quick. So keep your eye out for this card because it's a trap. So, with all that said, guys, thanks a lot for watching. I appreciate it. Time to start packing up. The wife's giving me the evil eye. So, until next time, stay kind. And as always, I hope to see you across from the game table. Hopefully in the U.S. sometimes.